everybody. Welcome to another live stream on the Epic Marvel Podcast YouTube channel. I'm here to open up a box, and it's going to be a box of Epic Collections, and we're going to see what's inside here. School's back in session now. September is here. I hope everybody had a good summer. This is a late night live stream for some of you. I know it's 7 o'clock here, but that means it's pretty late on the East Coast. And even later if you're on the other side of the world. In fact, maybe it's morning over there by this time, right? Anyway, you want to know what's inside this box, do you? So do I. Whoa, I almost dropped it. Let me know where you're from. Leave a comment. Give me a little shout out here. Say hi. And I want to know who's listening in on the live stream today. And if you are watching on the replay, hi to you too. Okay, let's have a look here. Okay, we got two to talk about today. Two Epic collections. The first one is a reprint. It's a reprint of the New Mutants Demon Bear Saga. Now, this is a book that has been reprinted before, and it's very popular, so it's coming back yet again. It keeps getting voted on when we do our poll for most requested reprints. And that happens every February in the Near Mint Condition YouTube channel. And then Marvel, we hand that list over to Marvel, and Marvel seems to base their reprint choices based on the top 20 of that poll. And this is one of them. Yeah, we have Shane saying hi. This unknown Facebook user saying intimate group. I don't know, it sounds a little fishy to me. If you haven't read the Demon Bear Saga, this is great stuff. It is shortly. This is volume 2 in the Epic Collection series. It covers New Mutants 13 to 31 in annual number 1, and it is the stuff just after the Bob McLeod and Chris Claremont era. In fact, it's still Chris Claremont who is writing all of this, but Bob McLeod has stepped away from being the regular penciler. And I mean, let's see here. The first issue is Sal Buscema, and it's, of course, Sal's always great with his layouts. This one, Sal Buscema again with Tom Mandrake as the finisher. And it isn't long. They wrap up the storyline here with the Hellions, which is Emma Frost's team of mutants that she's training. And then we get into the Demon Bear Saga, and this is when they bring on Bill Sienkiewicz. And Bill Sienkiewicz has been this is kind of, my lamp here is shining right on the paper, so it does look kind of shiny, but it's the same. This is the same paper that the Epic collections have been using lately, so it's actually really nice. It's not glossy; it just has a shine because all of the ink sits on top of the page. Bill Sienkiewicz has he comes on board and to do this story arc and just has a wild time. He has some amazing layouts. He's got a very kind of almost abstract looking style in his artwork. And of course, if you follow him on Facebook or anything like that, you've seen his stuff. It's just wild. And then the story is equally as wild. And I know that Chris Claremont likes to play up to his artist's strengths. And so I'm sure that when he was talking to Bill about coming on board, he's like, let's make a story that would be fitting for Bill Sienkiewicz. So I just love this bear. Just look at this page. It surrounds mostly Danny Moonstar as she grapples with this bear that seems to be hunting her for some reason. And it's a wild ride through different psyches and different dimensions and stuff. Really cool stuff. Let's see. Shane says, "I remember not liking that Sienkiewicz art back when I was buying it off the stands, and now it is some of my favorite art of its era." Yeah, I agree. It is an acquired taste because it's very not standard. If you look at the Sal Buscema issues, this is like a 180 from that. But those who love it really love it, and those who don't love it, I don't know. There's no helping you. Little Jimmy Fireball, this guy, Little Jimmy Fireball, says that's when his style really changed. Great stuff. Now, his style, it definitely developed through this era. And as the book goes on, even gets maybe even a little bit more abstract as it goes on. But he really started uh, changing his style toward the end of his Moon Knight run. If you read the second and third Moon Knight epic collections, there's an incredible evolution of style for Bill Sienkiewicz. So yeah, just some really neat stuff. And of course, nowadays his stuff looks even more kind of out there and abstract. Really fun. This book is great. It's one of my favorites for sure. I really like it. There's just some good stuff. And then after there's a Legion story after the Demon Bear story wraps up. So there you go. That's the Demon Bear Saga reprint. Probably going to say third edition down at the bottom here, right? Yep, third edition, first printing. So this is the second time it's been reprinted. It's the third edition. Okay, the next one I have to talk about is Ghost Rider Epic Collection, and it was originally called Ghost Rider Epic Collection number 6, but they've now called it Ghost Rider Danny Ketch Epic Collection Volume 1, Vengeance Reborn. Now, this is a continuation of the Ghost Rider line, covering the new series that Ghost Rider launched in the 90s with a brand new Ghost Rider by the name of Danny Ketch. And you can see they've added his name. I'm getting the glare from my monitor. They've added his name on here in a Ghost Rider-y type font. What do you think of this change? Over on the Facebook group, it's a little bit polarized. Some people love the fact that it's renumbered number 1, and other people don't like the fact that it's renumbered to number 1. And this sort of sets a precedent for the Epic Collection because this is the first Epic Collection that has to deal with a legacy character. It changes actual like secret identities, although not necessarily true because Thor was Eric Masterson for a little while in the 90s, right? They didn't do a Thor Eric Masterson number 1. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I have not read any of this. This was one of Marvel's hottest titles in the 90s. Um, there's the let's see that spine there. This was one of Marvel's hottest titles in the 90s. I stayed away from it just because I didn't care, but I'm excited to read it because this it gets a lot of praise. A lot of people love it, and it's got some really cool artwork. In fact, it's a little bit reminiscent of some of the Bill Sienkiewicz stuff from the Demon Bear saga. So that's kind of cool. It's got very dark. Look at all of these nighttime scenes just in these first few issues. Limited color palettes, it seems like, and really going after the moodiness of the character. Wow, it's not very colorful at all. All of these are very muted colors in the backgrounds. That red car stands out. That stands out. That's kind of cool, actually. What does this collect? It has Ghost Rider 1 to 12, Mark Spector Moon Knight 25 right there, so there's a crossover, and Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme number 28, and then material from Marvel Comics Presents 64 to 71. That's going to be probably all this stuff at the end here. Oh no, that's Ghost Rider. The last few issues are just all surrounded with black borders. That's something that a lot of these dark titles did at the time. Looks like Nightmare is going to make an appearance. There's the Doctor Strange crossover. This issue is also in the Doctor Strange Epic Collections. I remember seeing that in there, and ending on Doctor Strange. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah. Iron Man James Rhodes Volume 1. There's another one. Or Spider-Man Ben Reilly instead of the Clone Saga. The end of his Moon Knight run was fantastic too. This is talking about Bill Sienkiewicz. Another great book from him was Brought to Light with Alan Moore. You need that for your Eclipse collection, Curtis. Yes, I do have that in my collection. Haven't read it yet, but it's pretty cool. A fully painted graphic novel from him with tiny panels as well. Gabriel Lopez says, yes, Ghost Rider, my must for October. Wish they could have. And then I think he didn't finish his comment. Whoops. This one's coming out October 11. October 11. And if you are in the market for some Ghost Rider epics, then this is the one you're going to want to get. Let's see. So that means maybe we'll see the Johnny Blaze series in the volume 2. Maybe that will come out in 2024. So far, we don't have a Ghost Rider volume announced for 2024. So is the numbering a new volume? If it's volume 1 numbering, it seems odd to make it a number 1 epic. This is technically, yeah, it is a new volume. So this is volume 2 of Ghost Rider, the series that launched in the 90s. This is the first 12 issues of that series. So it is okay, I think, to call it a number 1 because it's a brand new title. And it is a new character. So let's give it number 1. We all know that number 1s sell better than anything, and I think that's probably a lot of their thinking here is Spider-Man can probably support 20 plus volumes of a series, but maybe Ghost Rider can't. And not everyone has the opportunity, not every character has the opportunity to relaunch the number 1 in these early days like Ghost Rider does. So there you go. Let's see. Here is the comment he was supposed to have from before. It says, "My Ghost Rider is my must for October. I wish they could have left or continued the epic numbering from Johnny Blaze." Yep. And then Canadian Mustache says he thinks that's all right, so that's cool. How do you feel about the route DC is taking with the 700 plus page soft covers coming? Worried about the glue letting go? Any issues so far with larger epics having long-term binding problems? None of the epics that I have any binding issues. The only binding issue problems were the ones that were printed by a company called Quad Graphics, and there's only a few of those that were affected, but they had very, very little glue in the spine. Some of them had issues with paper coming, some of the pages coming out. But otherwise, these epics are built great. They don't fall apart on me as I read them. Some of you maybe you're rougher with your epic collections. I don't know. Want to see that spine? You want to see what it looks like with the other Ghost Rider epic collection? There it is. Ghost Rider and Ghost Rider Danny Ketch. Kind of don't like that it goes all the way down to the bottom, leaving an odd space up here, but it actually looks just fine when you put all of the other epic collections together, because then they're all justified at the top here. And Guardians of the Galaxy is also an equally long title. So there you go. That's what they all look like together. Looks like this one's a little bit of a lighter shade of orange. I wonder if that's just a misprint in the ink, or if that's an intention of making it a little bit brighter. You want to see what some of the bonus features are in this book? Let's have a look. We have a Marvel Age article for those of you who love reading behind the scenes stuff. Marvel reviewers. This is more Marvel Age stuff. A Marvel trivia quiz, which is all Ghost Rider themed. Little Blazer by Fred Hembeck. It wouldn't be an epic collection without a Fred Hembeck cartoon, right? Tackling Johnny Blaze as Ghost Rider. So there is some Johnny Blaze in this book, in case you were wondering. Actually, he does show up in the issues as well, I believe. Some ads for Spirit of Vengeance in the year of review. There is a cover for a previous graphic novel collection called Resurrected. And then the Howard Mackie introduction from that same one. We have some pinups. The Ghost Rider Doctor Strange tie-in got its own collection at one point. And there's a gold second printing variant. Ghost Rider issues were going into second printings. That's a good sign. That's a good tell. It was a popular title. The Acts of Vengeance stories, I guess, maybe. Oh no, it's just a mini series. Oh, that's what the Marvel Comics Present story was called. There we go. Is that a Rob Liefeld drawing? Yes, it is. Rob Liefeld, everybody. Ghost Rider and Wolverine. And then the cover art for the Ghost Rider issue that went into second printing. Look at this list of epics down here. Huge. And yep, they have separated. Let's see if you can see. Separated Ghost Rider and Ghost Rider Danny Ketch. Can't really tell. Not going in focus for us here. But let's see. They still have Blade Night Stalkers on here, even though that one was removed from the schedule. Not totally removed, we're just assuming delayed, but they probably pushed it along with a few others. The Epic deserves so much credit for having such uniform spines. I know this is Epic like number 332 or something like that, I think, and they haven't changed the trait dress. It's except yeah, even the Star Wars ones and even the modern era Epic collections, even though the fonts are different on those ones, they still have the same look on the spine. It's pretty cool. Which they do the mapping, including the Spirit of Vengeance book. How long was this volume of Ghost Rider? This series lasted, I'm going to say like 50 issues, but someone correct me, please. How long did this series, this Ghost Rider Volume 2, how long did it go? How many issues? Um, will they include Spirit of Vengeance? Good question. I don't know. It was its own title for a while. It could get its own one-shot collection called Spirit of Vengeance. Or they could do like they do with X-Men and combine the two, but it is its own title, and they're not combining like the Spider-Man titles or anything. So who knows if they'll do that or not. David C says it was like 70 issues. Michael says it was about 90 issues. That's pretty incredible that it almost hit 100 issues. Just amazing. I haven't got any of the modern Epic collections yet because outside of Spider-Gwen, I have them as complete collections. I will grab that Remender Volume 2, Venom Volume 2, though, as the complete collection was out of print and expensive. Yes, that's why we know that they're focusing the releases of these modern era Epic collections on those complete collections that are out of print. That's kind of all of these early ones that they've done are the complete collections that are out of print. There you go. Yep, David C checked 95 issues. That's going to get us like 6 or 7 epics, probably more if they're including all of the Marvel Comics Presents issues, which they seem to be doing. Ghost Rider was a regular character in Marvel Comics Presents for quite a while. So there will be a lot of stories. I'm glad they're including those because, they didn't do the Wolverine ones in the Wolverine Epic collections, but they're doing that here for Ghost Rider. Pretty cool. Hoping Marvel will complete the Brubaker cap in modern epics, as they only did 3 complete collections. I hope so too, and the fact that they want to do long unbroken runs is a good sign. So I'm guessing that they will do that. I wish even current series were released as epics. They just released a Captain Marvel by Kelly Thompson, and these saga of collections, they should all be epics. minus one consist for they should all be epics, one consistent clean line. Well, they can't all be epics. I think that there is something to be said for different trade dress and different formats. Um, one and done volumes, especially those saga ones, the saga of Clint Barton or whatever. Um, those ones are made specifically for the people who just want a taste of Hawkeye and want something in the collection and don't want to have the numbers. Even though the number's not on the spine, but still, there's a psychological thing. Like once you get one, you got to get a bunch of them, right? What will they do for the female Ghost Rider? Trade paperback is out of print. Is that modern? Yeah, that's modern, isn't it? Pretty sure. Lots of questions, you guys. This is great. Would you buy Omnis if Marvel wasn't planning on making epics for certain characters like Rom or Micronauts? I can tell you right now that I'm going to get the Rom and Micronauts Omnis because we saw it with Conan and we saw it with Master of Kung Fu. That license expires before they get around to the epics, then we're out of luck. Or if they get partway through the epics, we're out of luck. So I'm just going to um, I'm going to they'll be my safety books, and then I'll sell them after the epics come out. But that's my plan. Do you prefer a sequential release or just random volumes of a series? I don't mind the random volumes. I am one who, while I really like the old Stanley Jack Kirby era of Marvel Comics, it's not one that I go back and revisit from time to time. And it's stuff that I'd already read. So when these epics came out and they decided not to start in the 60s, that was a huge selling point for me. It was like, yes, let's bypass that stuff and get to the stuff that I've never read before. And then we'll fill in those gaps a little bit later. So I'm totally happy with the random out of order series releases with some of the newer titles where the continuity is a little bit more heavy and it goes like they stretch their stories out, then those ones kind of need to be in order, I think. But for the most part, I'm happy with the way that they've been putting them out. For the love of God, put out a volume 12 of Iron Man, please. Yes, that would be great, right? Volume 12 of Iron Man and not volume 16 of Amazing Spider-Man. How about all of you? Do you like the sequential release or the out of order release? Do you like the way that epics do that? Michael says, "Don't give in. One Omni can break you." I love epics, but one I bought one Omni and now I'm over 150 Omnis. Oh, holy cow! Well, I feel like I'm just too far in to the epic collections now to give up. I really like this format. I take them on airplanes. I'll take them and just throw them in a backpack. I like having them to be able to take them on the go. Uh, one of my biggest problems with Omnis is I'm very intimidated to start 1,000-page book because then I feel like I'm under pressure to finish it in a reasonable amount of time, and so it's like, well, I'll do these other like these 300-page books. I'll plow through those ones before I'll touch an Omni. So I don't know. It's just a psychological thing. Phil is a huge 1960s fan, and I think he says, I think putting out non-sequential books was a great idea, something for everyone. And that's true, because they didn't just do the 80s, they did a volume of the 80s, then a volume of the 60s, and then a volume of the 90s, and like, yeah, literally something for everybody, and it's great. I really wish Marvel would reprint those early Hulk epics, especially Leader Lives. Yeah, that is one of the more sought after ones, isn't it? Didn't hit the top 20, but now that a bunch of those other ones are out of the way, I bet or I bet it'll be up there in the reprint poll. It's one that gets mentioned quite a bit. Leader Lives. Out of order is fine with me. I kind of like that the modern line looks to be releasing in order, though. Not quite. Agent Venom is volume 4 of the Venom Modern Era Epic Collections. I mean, it is the start of a creator run, but it is in the middle of that series. Iron Man coming out next year. Iron Man Modern Era starts with volume 3, and the Hulk Modern Era starts with volume 6. So they are going to still do a little bit of out of order stuff there. Hey, Shane agrees. It's hard to finish an Omni. I mean, I guess it depends on the content as well. Maybe some are harder than others. Epics are the best reading format. Omnis are the best archival format. Yeah, I guess you could say that. Personally, I like the ease of being able to just pull it off the shelf and start reading it, which I know you can do with Omnis, but there's just something a little different about that, right? Did Silver Surfer get delayed? Need the wrap up and gap fillers. Let me see here. Let me check my schedule. I think Silver Surfer might have been delayed by 1 week. Gotta pull up my spreadsheet. And then if you are on the Facebook group, Phil, one of the Phils, he keeps a very, very good up-to-date list. Um, and I have it pinned at the top of the page, and it has all of the releases. So it says here that Silver Surfer is coming out. Where did it go here? Silver Surfer's still scheduled for the end of December. That wasn't. I can't remember if that was delayed or not, but it's been at that date for quite a while now. The end of December, I believe. Yeah, December 19. December 19. Where did that list go? December 26. Oh, it has been delayed a little bit. I need to update my list, but that's it. Okay, another question here. I'm one of the few that likes the fact that Marvel made the Ghost Rider volume all about Danny Ketch, as opposed to mixing it in with the original Ghost Rider epics. There you go. Yeah. Are you a fan of this font though? I'm not sure if I'm sold on the way that this looks right there. I know they're trying to emulate this up here, but kind of looks a little slapped on, which technically it was since they made the change kind of last minute. But um, also there's all this weird negative space right here. They should have like moved it over a little bit. David likes the out of order as well. Yeah, one of the great things about the Out of Order is that we get to guess what's coming up. That has been one of the really fun things about the Epic collections and the community on Facebook and such, is that we get to guess what is going to come out. We have no idea what the next release is going to be. If they're doing it all in chronological, then it's like, well, here comes the next Fantastic Four. But yeah, Michael likes the non-sequential. Abraham why says, I don't mind random release as long as I don't need to pre-read certain stories to understand the plot. Yes, so there is a little bit of some of the problem there. For most of the comics like the 70s and 80s, and even a lot of the 90s, you didn't have to worry about that as the stuff kind of, stuff reset and or the way that they were written, the way the stories were written, they'd catch you up pretty quick as to what was going on. Omnis are great for art, but Epic collections are better for reading. I know that all of you Omni YouTube channels, if you're listening in, sorry, I have all of the Epic collection fans here. I really love when they were random. I really love when they were random, the epics. About Omnibus, it had to take me more than 3 months to finish the Fantastic Four by John Byrne Volume One. I really prefer the epics. There's just something about having it's a commitment. It's a commitment to read 1,000-page book or whatever it is, 800 to 1,000 pages, and they're heavy. So it's like you got to find a comfortable spot. You can't just kind of pick it up wherever you are. Um, Also with a book that expensive, I'd be like, I like to read these while I'm having breakfast, and sometimes a little bit of milk will splash on it or whatever. But with more of the omnis, you don't really kind of want that to happen, right? I'm not as picky with the condition of my books as some people are. I don't mind if the corners get dinged or whatever as I'm reading because they're books. They're meant to be read. They're meant to be handled a lot. Omnis feel like they are an investment that I'm not allowed to do anything with. I had a question about the DC compendiums. DC is now collecting a bunch of their stories in these thicker books. They're about 700 pages, which is, 200 pages more than this. Looks like they're also using thicker paper, so just the book in general looks a lot thicker than these ones are. Um, I don't know. I'd have to read one to see because that's pushing my kind of page count limit. These ones, like the 500, is about what I like. I've been trying to get through the Usagi Yojimbo uh, books, and those ones, even though the stories are really easy to read and stuff, it still is taking me a long time because those are big books. Those ones are probably like, what are those, 700, 800 pages? Um, they're big. They're very big. Canadian Mustache says, good point, and he's talking about the modern eras starting in at the beginning. But yeah, they're all the start of new creator runs. It's true, but Marvel did that too with their random out of order releases. Um, like the very first Iron Man was Iron Man number 12. That was the start of the Denny O'Neil run, and the very first Fantastic Four was All in the Family, and that was the stuff that happened right after John Byrne left. The beginning of, who was it that came on? Did Conway do a few issues? And right before Steve Englehart started. And what was the other one? The Captain America. The very first Captain America epic was, um, what was it called? I don't remember, but it was the John Byrne and Roger Stern run. It was the start of that one. So it was out of order, but they started it at the beginning of creator runs, and then they kind of went chronological until they would reach the end of that creator run, and then they jumped to another spot. It's kind of how they did it. David C says, "I don't like dust jackets. I have a box of them in the closet." Yeah, unfortunately, you need to keep those if you want to resell your Omnis, right? Michael says, "I'm missing 3 Star Wars epics to complete my Dark Horse collection, but Marvel is slow at reprinting the Star Wars epics. In fact, not just slow, they haven't started. The first Dark Horse Star Wars reprints are coming next year. Which 3 are you missing, Michael? Maybe someone here can help you out." I really hope that we get some new epic lines later in 2024. For example, the post-burn Alpha Flight or post 100 Spectacular Spidey and the back end of Marvel Team Up. Yeah, that's stuff that has been uncollected. That would be really great if we saw some of that stuff. And the Epic's perfect for it. Out of order releases, let's get that stuff there. I have a feeling though that if they do Alpha Flight, they'll launch it with number 1 because John Byrne always sells, and they will be able to start that Epic collection off with a bang, and then maybe they'll jump ahead to something else. That's what I'm guessing. Spectacular Spider-Man would be great to start right in the middle because if you want to hit up the Jerry Conway stuff or even the JM DeMatteis stuff, those are both great runs that people seem to like. They tested the waters with the Jerry Conway stuff with a big thick trade called Tombstone, but I don't think it really took off, or they never did a follow-up to that one. Let's see here. I managed not to get any Dark Horse Star Wars Epic collections, but I wish I had got them all. I've been getting some of the Omnis, and they are fantastic. Star Wars, yeah, I mean, it's definitely with all that content, of course, it's hit or miss, but for the most part, I really like the Dark Horse Star Wars comics that I've read. They do some really, really great stuff. Did your opinion of Gillen's Loki change at all? I remember you saying it wasn't your favorite partway through. So yes, I've read both Epic collections now, and it did get better. And I think the biggest thing was that it wasn't as tied into other storylines, allowing Gillen to really um, play with his own concepts and stuff. So the reason I didn't like the first Epic collection, which collected the early Gillen journey into mystery stories, is because it was too heavily connected with the what was it, the Fear Itself story. And since that miniseries wasn't collected in the Loki Epic collections, I felt like I was missing something almost the entire way through, and I didn't have a good time reading it. But after that, it was great. There's a really fun story with the where they tie in the New Mutants. to what Loki is doing with this bet he has going on with Mephisto and Hela. And in fact, that's not exactly the story, but all of the Asgardians get brainwashed, and it's a fun time. And then there's a story with Captain Britain, which is pretty fun. With Loki goes to Otherworld, and then yeah, the last story, the Everything Burns, the Everything Burns story is a lot of fun too. Some great artwork there. Alan Davis is the artist there. Hey Curtis, hope all is well. Any idea if you and Omar will be doing another new epic announcement anytime soon? The answer is no, you're going to have to wait a little bit. So Marvel was kind enough to give us 6 months worth of Epic Collection announcements the last time. Usually they only give us 3 or 4 months. And because they had to change around the way that they are scheduling to meet the requirements of their new distributor that they're working with. So that means they need to have things more in advance. So that's why they had to kind of play catch up and give us a big lump sum of Epic Collection announcements all at once. And we contemplated maybe just parsing it out and doing 3 months now and then 3 months, a few months down the road. But we asked everybody and they were like, no, we want to do all 6 months right now. Give it to us all now. So we did. But that means you have to wait 6 months for the next round of announcements to come out. And so it's only been 3 months since we did that round of announcements. So we have another 3 months to wait. So I'm guessing maybe in November we'll have another round of announcements. I know it sucks, but there you go. In the meantime, they've been sneaking in a few extra bonus announcements for those of you who haven't noticed. There's new X-Men Modern Era, Astonishing X-Men Modern Era, and Spider-Girl Modern Era. Those are all volume ones coming out in, let me see my release schedule here. Astonishing X-Men and Spider-Girl are coming out in March, and then New X-Men will be coming out in June. And then they also snuck Wolverine Volume 14 in there as well, and that one's coming out in March. Wolverine Volume 14, The Return of Weapon X. The Omnis are ideal for bashing zombies over the head with. Epics don't have the same offensive qualities. That's true. Although if you combine a couple of these ones and maybe make the spines back to back, they can work a little bit. I don't know. All I know is Bill Rules needs to be on my team for the zombie apocalypse. So that sounds like he's got everything thought through already. The logo adjustment is whack. Agreed. Yeah. So the other book I got today, the New Mutants reprint, also does this. Why isn't this centered in the book here? Why is it so far over here? Why didn't they just like bump it over there? I know that if this were a regular comic, there'd be a corner box there, but this isn't a regular comic. They could have just scooched that over and centered that in there. Kind of a pet peeve of mine. This one's nicely centered. This one's nicely centered. This one's nicely centered. That was nicely centered. What else do I have kicking around here? Here's She-Hulk. This one's nicely centered. But for some reason, they didn't want to center Ghost Rider. And I know his head is sticking up here, but if you move the R right over there, I'm pretty sure that this isn't going to cover up very much of that logo at all. And it's not like they're opposed to covering up the logos. They do that on some of these Epic collections. I don't know if we have any. Yeah, like Hawkeye goes right through. You can still see that it says Hawkeye. Let's see here. What's some more comments? The Star Wars ones I'm missing are from the Dark Horse reprints. They're really pricey on the aftermarket. Yeah, which ones are they? Let me know. No one's fool enough to guess the date for Amazing Spider-Man 16. Do you know why some Marvel titles become a complete collection instead of an epic? Well, I mean, the complete collections, I think there's a couple of reasons why they were doing complete collections. One is because they wanted to put the creator's name on it. and that would limit the amount of volumes it can be. The complete collections have historically been for shorter run books, and like you know, complete collection. What was an example? Venom by Rick Remender, complete collection. They only have to do 2 volumes of that. Or yeah, Journey into Mystery, complete collection by Gillen, complete collection, only a couple of volumes, and that way there's a stopping point, and people who only like that run and don't like anything else can have a nice little collection on their shelf. The epics, they were for a purpose. They were specifically, especially when the epics started, they were for the long running series that are going to go 20 plus volumes. They didn't have any shorter epic collections. It's only recently that we've been starting to get something like Generation X that's only going to be 6 volumes. Um, and there's no, I mean, I guess you could call it complete collection and do 6 volumes. They did What If complete collection, which was 4. They did the Tomb of Dracula complete collection, which ended up being just 5. I think the 6th is canceled. Um, but when they go back, they'll David Gabriel says that when they reprint Tomb of Dracula, it's going to be an epic collection. The other reason why, yeah, so yeah, short series and creator owned or creator centric series. Those are the 2 main reasons why they're complete collections. But David Gabriel, I think, has said he's putting a stop to the complete collection branding. So either something will just be like whatever, Captain Marvel by DeConnick without the complete collection, or it'll be an epic collection, modern era epic collection. Curtis, silly question. Is it possible to change or upgrade a soft cover like an epic into a hard cover? Absolutely, it is possible if you want to do that. You can take your heat gun or something like that to soften up the glue. Here, I'll turn the comment off. Soften up the glue, and right on down here, the cover is only being held by glue by the first couple of pages. So if you open up your book to the first page and then soften up the glue there, the cover will come off. Unless you want the cover, you can keep the cover on there too. But if you get some chipboard from the art store and cut yourself out a board here, and then a spine and another board, and you get some book cloth, and then you glue. This is a very simplified way of doing that. If you glue those pieces that you just cut out onto the book cloth, there's measurements and spaces you have to have between them, and then fold it over, and then you can glue the spot, put a little bit of line of glue here and a line of glue here, and put your hardcover on, and there you have a hardcover book. And you make a nice dust jacket for it. I have done that. I don't have any around me to show you, but I've made a few hardcovers myself, and it's kind of a fun process. On my YouTube channel, I don't have a video on it because I haven't. I was going to make a video about that, but I never got that far. So, but there are tutorials online on how to make hardcover, uh, like book covers, and how to translate or how to take your trade paperbacks or how to take your single issues and make them into hardcovers. It's kind of a fun process. I think the random release order is good for epics as it allows a diverse audience to collect them. Not everyone can get into the writing style of Silver or Bronze Age, nor is everyone into the 90s. Absolutely true. And I think that the brilliance of this is that they're not putting the numbers on the spines, and they're also not hyping this up as like starting from the beginning, this is Stan and Jack's Fantastic Four or whatever. Like, yeah, they're giving us um they're just giving us the characters and letting us decide if we want to get them or not. I agree that logo on the Dan Ketch epic could have been thought out a little bit more. Still better than Deadpool Volume 1, which for some reason somebody accidentally clicked off the layer of the logo before it went to print. Whoops. I wonder if they ever reprint that and they get the logo on there, will I buy it again to replace it? That's a good question. Would you buy it again to replace your Deadpool with a missing title on the front? Michael, I might start buying Lord of the Star Wars Legend stuff if Marvel reprinted more out of print ones. Well, they are going to start doing some, so that's good. Phil says, "Do you read long novels or do you avoid War and Peace and Lord of the Rings?" Yes, I actually do avoid those ones too. I don't. I actually don't. I don't read very many novels at all, but the ones that I do read are not very long. I tried. I really wanted to read the Chronicles of Prydain and like the Black Cauldron, and I started and never finished it. Whoops. Oh, Don's really like, I'm just catching up with comments. Holy cow, there are a lot of comments here, people. Wow. Yeah, Don's Early Light was the name of the Captain America book. Okay, let me see. I need to skip down here to see that Ghost Rider epic you are holding looks beautiful. Which one? I got two here. They both look beautiful, actually. They both look beautiful. But yeah, you're probably talking about this new one, right? The new one is coming out at the beginning of October, October 11th. I wish we could get an Inhumans epic line, but I feel the failure of the Inhumans at the MCU may cause Marvel to leave that till last. It still leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth, doesn't it? And Marvel sure pushed Inhumans hard at the time in the comics, to go along with that show. And then when the show bombed, it was not great. But we did get those two. They're not complete collections, but they're kind of complete collections of the early Inhumans appearances, and they would be. You could just straight turn those into epic collection, and it would be great. Um, The Aztec Ace one for Dark Horse is pretty pricey, though. I had to get it after seeing Kurtis covered. Yeah, I did that in one of the other videos. Aztec Ace is an old Eclipse title from the 80s by Doug Mensch and a bunch of different artists, including Dan Day. And it's a fun time travel story. I've read the first few issues now, and it's a lot of fun. I think I have the single issue right here on my desk, coincidentally. Let's see if I can find it. I have so much stuff on my desk. Here it is. Aztec Ace #1, and yeah, from Eclipse and Dark Horse got the rights to it. They're working with a different company, and they kickstarted a complete collection of all 15 issues. This is, let's see if you can see some of it. It's a time travel story where a guy goes through time to solve some problems. It's part of a time travel agency, and it's a lot of fun. But I haven't gotten really far into the story yet to know where it's going or where it's headed. But this first look at that nice two-page spread, kind of emulating the Aztec dial. Um, it's very dense. Doug Mensch has an extremely complex idea that he's trying to put through here, and um, shows it off in great detail in these. So yeah, this is if you want it, it is a very pricey book though. I got it because it was first of all on sale on Amazon, and I had some gift certificates. Otherwise, I try not to spend that much on a single book. It's very expensive. I'm not sure why. I mean, it's pricey, thick, glossy pages, hardcover, so that could be it. Who is in charge of the Epic Collection line? I wish it were me. No, it's David Gabriel. He's the head of their marketing team. He has a team of people, and they work together to come up with the release schedule. And then there's one person who is in charge of the modern era. That's like the 80s and 90s, plus the modern era epics. That her name is Jennifer Grunwald. And then there is another person who's in charge of all of the classic stuff from the 60s and 70s, and that's Corey Settlemyer. And he's the one who does the Marvel Masterworks as well. And those are the people who I think make a lot of the big decisions. I have all four of the Spider Girl complete collections waiting on the volume 5 of the Modern Epic. Yeah, sorry that volume 5 of the complete collections probably won't come out now. Volume 1's coming out, but I'm hoping that they will skip ahead to volume 5 so that all of those people who bought into the complete collections can at least have the stories, even though it'll look weird having a random volume on your shelf beside it. Very surprised that Miles Morales epics were not introduced to coincide with the Spider-Verse theatrical and home release. You're right. Very unusual that they didn't push that, but I'm guessing that when the third one comes out, Edge of Spider-Verse, is that what it's called? I bet we'll see it there. And that actually reminds me, calling this one Ghost Rider Danny Ketch, I feel like that might be a little short-sighted since all of those titles in the modern era, all of the comics that come out, they're usually name colon superhero name. So like Miles Morales, Spider-Man, or um, Steve Rogers, Captain America, and Sam Wilson, Captain America. They usually put the name first. And so if there's a modern era Ghost Rider, it would probably be Danny Reyes, Ghost Rider, and Danny Ketch. No, sorry, Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider, Danny Ketch, Ghost Rider. So then you're not going to be able to put, if you order your comics alphabetically on the shelf, it'll be Ghost Rider Danny Ketch, but it'll be Danny Ketch Ghost Rider Modern Era Epic Collection. And that's my guess. Well, am I right? I have no idea. We'll see what we'll see what they'll do. Are you and Omar planning to do any sort of live stream on September 19th to celebrate the history of the Epic line? 10-year anniversary. I think I will do something. I don't know if Omar is planning to do anything, but I might do something here on my Epic collection. Good night to you too, Axel. Thanks for tuning in from one Canadian stream to another. The Man Wolf Complete Collection. Yeah, who got that one? That one's really pricey now. It went out of print, and it's like, I don't know, people want $100 for that one. Curtis, do you know why Spider-Man Epic 1 was missing two issues that were in the Spider-Man Omni? I think it was the issue where Spidey fought the Human Torch and the expanded story of the FF fight. That would be the annual, right? Annual number 3. Is it 3? Because the first one is the Sinister Six, second one is Doctor Strange, and so I think that's the third annual. It's in the second Epic collection. Let me just double check that because I'm pretty sure because it was a no, that's not even Ditko because Larry Lieber did that Human Torch story, I think. Where is my list here? Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Spider-Man. Annual number 2 is in volume 2. Annual number 3 is in volume 3. And you're saying it's in the omnibus, volume 1? I thought the omnibus only collected the Ditko stuff. So let me double check. I'm going to look it up for you right now. T. Butler. Annuals number 1 to 2, Amazing Fantasy, Strange Tales. Oh, Strange Tales annual. Okay, yes, it didn't. That's right. And the Fantastic Four annual number 1. Okay, I see what you're saying here. Um, Strange Tales annual number 2 was not included in Fantastic Four annual 1, was the one where Spider-Man um, goes and visits Fantastic Four, which was an expanded version of Fantastic Four number 1. Um, why were they not included? Because when the Epic line was first announced, they had decided to only include um, the main series plus annuals, graphic novels, and any time a story was to be continued in another one. They didn't throw in every single guest appearance of a character. So that's why it's not there. The Omnis having larger page counts, they decide to throw everything in there. So I think that's probably why we didn't see that happen. I think if the Epic collections were coming up today, they've definitely evolved in the way of their thinking and the way that they put their mapping together, and they probably would have included those ones, just like they probably would have included the Wolverine Marvel Comics Presents because now the Omnis are doing it. But back when Wolverine Volume 1 came out, that wasn't the way that they were thinking. Curtis, can you speak about the thick Marvel trades that have the title The Saga of insert character here. Um, yeah, so I don't have any of those ones, but they are about the same size as epics. The saga of it, like Scarlet Witch, the saga of Wanda, or I guess that one was called Scarlet Witch and Vision, um, or or Hawkeye, the saga of Kate Bishop. You know those ones. Star Lord, the saga of Peter Quill. Um, those ones are great. They are all movie tie-ins. They are all produced to coincide with a movie release or a Disney Plus show release. And so they are definitely out there to hit the market of people who maybe will wander into a store after seeing the show and say, "Hey, I want to learn more about the character." They are they're not random issues, but they are random issues thrown in together to create a collection of these characters. So you have everything from the very first appearance of Hawkeye in the 60s to the new stuff from Hawkeye modern era. Um, a little bit of a jarring reading experience, but if you want a kind of a broad overview of the character's history, then those are a good place to go. Personally, I don't like those kind of collections. I'd rather have epic collections that are, even, or if it is a saga, I would rather them take, this is Hawkeye from the 80s. It's all 80s stuff. Like have it more contained or more focused. Are they still doing thick creator-centric, thick trade paperbacks and just not labeling them complete collections? I got the infamous. They are still doing some thick creator-centric, thick trade paperbacks, is what Shane's saying. I got the infamous Iron Man by Bendis and Malev last week. Now, I'm pretty sure that it's not called Infamous Iron Man by Bendis and Malev. I think it's just called Infamous Iron Man, right? I don't think it has any creator branding on it at all, but I might be wrong about that. How many epics have you read this summer? I think maybe six, which is how long is the summer? And that's like three a month. That's not bad. They come out faster than I can read them, that's for sure. Um, let's see here. I would love to see the Nam in Epic Collections. Not sure if they would be too adult, but they did do Punisher Return to Big Nothing. I don't think they'd be too adult. I think that the war comics are an incredibly specific market. In Canada, we call it a niche market. And war comics and Western comics, they don't sell very well. And Marvel is in the superhero business, and so they are very hesitant to do stuff outside of those circles. Any chance of seeing Kirby's 2001 complete collection or epic collection? Probably not. That title is licensed, and I have no idea if the contents inside have any sort of licensing issues at all. I'm sure that the adaptation of the movie does, all of those issues, I think, of the regular series, which was only 10 issues, I think all of that, those were new stories that Kirby did, including the first appearance of Machine Man. Obviously, Machine Man is a Marvel property, but there are still rights issues with those comics. When they did the Machine Man Complete Collection, they couldn't include the 2001 issues for whatever reason. So I don't know exactly what the issue is, but um, I don't know that we're going to see that anytime soon. That's going to be a series that'll probably end up in limbo forever because MGM um, MGM can't. It's not like they can take that and say, "Hey, Dynamite, why don't you republic? Or why don't you do a collection of these?" Because it's full of Marvel characters, and Dynamite would have to license 2001 from MGM, and they'd have to license the characters from Marvel, and like that's way too expensive. So probably we will probably not see that ever. The only thing that we could see is the adaptation of the actual movie that Kirby did, because I bet that that one wouldn't require any Marvel license. I sent the message too early. The Thick Trade is about a specific character with the title Saga of Kang. Why not just do it as an epic collection or a complete collection? Yeah, I think they're not complete enough to be a complete collection. They're not epic enough to be an epic collection. They are definitely their own thing. Long novels. I don't want to read Dune. I don't even want to watch the movie. Sorry, all you sci-fi guys. Yeah, Jerusalem's another one. I find Alan Moore very hard to read. There are some obviously that are easier to read than others. Watchmen I have no problem with, but there are other Alan Moore books that I am just like, I can't get through this. And it's usually some of his more obscure stuff. Have you ever tried reading The Birth Call? I can't get through that one. And it's not because it's thick, it's just because it's Alan Moore, and he's pretty dense. Um, the guy who ran that Aztec Ace Kickstarter actually died of COVID-related problems. Drew Ford. Oh yeah, forgot that Drew Ford was behind that. Yeah, sad news. That was very unfortunate. Is Jennifer related to Mark? I have no idea. I'd love to see a Reed Fleming complete collection. Do you know who owns the rights currently? I believe that the Reed Fleming complete collection rights are held by the creator. And IDW put out a collection like 10 years ago of Reed Fleming, the world's toughest milkman, and nothing since. So I don't think the rights are held by any comic creator at the time, probably just by the creator himself. That's my guess. Let's see, we're all catching up. I'm catching up on all of these comments here on the side. Yeah, Kirby's 2001 is so damn good. You're right. It actually is really great. One of the I'm not a huge fan of Kirby stuff in the 70s. A lot of his stuff is not as great, in my opinion. Like Eternals is very hit or miss. Um, Devil Dinosaur is fun for a little while, even though it's only 9 issues. Even his Captain America is not as good as the other stuff, but 2001 is it's a good ride all the way through. Oh yeah, From Hell is another one that I started and tried to finish and couldn't. I should get back to that one because it was at least interesting, and I really like Eddie Campbell. The birth call was originally a spoken word performance that Eddie Campbell adapted. Okay, well, maybe that's what it is then. Um, maybe I should give it a. Maybe I should check out the CD then, or if it's you say it's on a CD, that might be more of up my my alley then. Defenders of the Earth. Is there anything that can be collected? Man, that is a hard one. I have. That's a hard one because Defenders of Earth was a cartoon based on old comic strip characters. So not only do you need, I think, well, first of all, you'd need the rights to all of the comic strip characters. And who is that? That's is that King Features? I think it's King Features that has like Mandrake the Magician, Flash Gordon, the Phantom, all of those ones. Uh, Usually they wouldn't give you a package in a lump sum. You'd have to have like the three licenses. I mean, sometimes you get them in a lump sum, but that would probably be more trouble than it's worth to try and get that licensed. Aside from Amazing Spider-Man 16, is there one epic volume you wish Marvel would finally announce? One of your most wanted. I'm really waiting for them to collect um, Sergeant Fury. Sorry, not Sergeant Fury. Nick Fury, Agent of Shield. That is kind of the missing piece of the early era of Marvel Comics, and we have everything else, and we just need them to fill in a few gaps, like Silver Surfer Volume 2 and such. But or Captain Marvel is another one of the 1960s stuff. If we can get Sergeant, it's not Sergeant Fury. If we can get Nick Fury, Agent of Shield, I'd be happy. I have those old trades, the Lee and Kirby and the Steranko trades, but I would love to get it in one volume. And then the stuff that came out in Omnibus, the regular series, it hasn't been in it hasn't been collected in in trade paperback form. So I would really like to see that. That's what I'm hoping for at some point. Doesn't Dynamite have the rights to them? So here's the thing: is that the comic strip characters, um, or this goes for anything. It, one company doesn't necessarily have exclusive rights. You can have sometimes it is exclusive rights, but I know that when Dynamite is producing comics with those characters, then there are other companies that are reprinting the old comic strips. So things can happen at the same time, or there's territorial rights. I know that there are Flash Gordon reprints happening in America and in Britain at the same time, from two different publishers because they were different territories. So I don't know. Dynamite may have the rights to those characters, but it may not include reprint rights. It may be for only new material, or it may be for only certain lines. Like every contract is different. Do you ever think we'll get more villain epic lines? We got Venom, Carnage. I'd like Doctor Doom, Kang, and Magneto. I don't know if I'd call Venom a villain line, actually, because he was only a Spider-Man villain for a very short time, and then he became a hero when he got his ongoing series of miniseries. Um, so I don't know if I call that a villain line, but Carnage definitely villain line. That one seemed like that it was to tie in with the Venom 2 movie, definitely a cash grab. Um, the problem with those lines is that there's so much double dipping for all of us who are collecting all of the Epic collections. Like Doctor Doom, maybe if you had a modern era Epic collection where Doctor Doom actually had some of his own mini series and ongoing series, that would be fine. But Kang, like it's all just made up of appearances from other comics, and it would be so much double dipping. So I don't think that I want a Kang Epic Collection series. Although it would be cool to have all of his appearances all collected all together. It'd be kind of neat for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Well, we're talking about Squadron Supreme. People are talking about the lines that they want to see. Squadron Supreme, that would be a good one for sure. Doom 2099, any of the 2099 comics would nice to have collected in a nice format, other than Omnibus, of course. And Kazar Epic Collections, Man Thing. I heard a rumor that they were very close to doing Kazar Epic Collections. This came to someone who was working in Marvel, and then they pulled the plug just because they weren't sure that it was going to be a good seller. I think that if they put Kazar back in the comics, um, like prominently, like give him a big story or something, or if he makes an appearance in the TVs or movies, which I don't know that he will. Kind of a weird character to do that with. Um, it might be a while before we see that, but you never know. Hopefully, that'd be great. I would very much welcome Kazar and Man Thing epic collections. To maybe do a modern Magneto since he had his own title series. Yeah, and he was like the headliner of a few different comics over the years, like but that weird volume of Excalibur, which I don't know, I don't think that would be what was it called? I think it was called New Excalibur, which was a House of M Fallout. I think. Are you aware of the actual line between modern epics and normal epics? There is no specific line. Um, every book is going to tackle that a little bit differently, and I think I can show you. Let's see if I can do a screen share. Share my screen. Okay, let's take a look at this. This is my spreadsheet that I have online. You can find it um, by probably Googling Marvel Epic Collections. I'm not sure. Um, but let's see here. I've plotted in. This is not totally complete because I haven't put in like the Astonishing X-Men one or anything like that. But you can see that there's going to be some overlap. Um, for instance, She-Hulk down here, She-Hulk Volume 6 takes us all the way to 2002, and but then the Daredevil one is which is Volume 2 starts in 2001. The earlier one is going to go all the way back here to can you see my cursor? I don't know if you can see the cursor. All the way back to 1998. That's where this Epic Collection Modern Era is going to start, which you can see that there's overlap between the Silver Surfer one and the Hulk one. So there's no like straight line down division. Of course, Hawkeye seems to be stretching all the way to 2008 for his classic era Epic Collection. Then you can see a little bit further down here. Um, Yeah, so Wolverine stretches all the way to 2002, where Daredevil is obviously starting way earlier than that. So they all are they're all different. Every line is going to have a different place where it considers the break between um, modern and not modern. Kazar's Omnis sell pretty cheap. I think that's a good indication that they're not as desirable as the other ones. Marvel Future Epic Collection, yes. I would prefer they had their own titles, like don't put them all in one. Although there are some series like Ghost Rider and Hulk 2099 that where else are they going to go there? That would be they only lasted like 9 or 10 issues, so they would be really, really thin epic collections. So if you can do Spider-Man, Punisher, um, what is it, Doom, Ravage, X-Men, if those ones can get their own lines, that would be fine. And then you could combine Fantastic Four, X Nation, although that could go in the X-Men line, Hulk and Ghost Rider, and then like 2099 Unlimited, and all of the wrap up series, the wrap up stories that they did to wrap up that universe. I don't know. It'd be kind of messy. What about Tomb of Dracula and Werewolf by Night Epic Collections? I found Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos at a garage sale for $5. Yeah, that one's out of print now, Volume 1, and it's actually going for a pretty hefty amount. So the fact that you found that for $5 is very, very good. Excellent. Good job. David Gabriel has said that Tomb of Dracula and Werewolf by Night will come back in print at some point, but they will be epic collections. And so I'm gonna hold them to that because I think that's great. Okay, actually, I was wrong about Kazara. In stock trades used to have them for 43, but it jumped up back to $77. That's still pretty cheap. It's not cover price. A Frankenstein epic would be one and done. Make it happen. Do you have that old monster of Frankenstein trade? I got that one. It's actually pretty fun. I like those 70s horror monster books. Yeah, they're good. That 29 epic mixing Ghost Rider, X Nation, and FF would be a complete mess. How about no? Yeah, I feel yeah. I just don't know how else to collect it. They would have to be standalone trades then, and they'd be like super, super thin because they'd be like half the size of an epic collection. What has to happen for Marvel to get the Shang-Chi license? I know that they had Conan for a while and they put out a whole lot of books. When can we get those sweet, sweet Master Kung Fu epic collections? I don't know why the license I don't know why the license isn't anymore. They don't release that kind of information. So the possibility is that Marvel saw that the Omnis didn't sell as well as they wanted them to, so they let the license lapse. Because licenses all have a a term agreement, right? There's a certain amount of time, and obviously they planned out the licensing period to release all of the Master Kung Fu Omnis and the Deadly Hands of Kung Fu Omnis as well, because all of those ones came out within the period of the license. So then my guess is that when there was up for renewal, either Marvel said, they're not selling well, it's not worthwhile to continue, so we're just going to stop, or um, the estate, the Sax Romer estate, said, we want more money. Marvel, when we renew this contract, we're going to up the licensing fee, and Marvel said no, so they canceled that as well. That's another possibility. Or maybe maybe Sax Romer was like, Marvel, we don't like working with you anymore. You are terrible to work with, so we're not going to renew, and that's possible as well. I have no idea. It's going to be hard. Like with Conan, all of those characters are owned by the Robert E. Howard estate, and so they can go and reprint them. Like Titan is doing that now. They're reprinting these Omnis. Can't do that with Sax Romer because the Marvel characters are involved. So if Sax Romer goes to uh, Dynamite or something and says, "Hey, why don't you reprint these characters featuring our characters?" Like, nah, no, we can't do that because now we have to license from you, but we also have to license from Marvel for the actual Shang-Chi character. I'm not going to do it. So I don't know. Um, they're doing Conan Omnis that are near identical to Marvel's. Let's hope they can do an epic equivalent. I really do hope that as well because I would love to get the rest of those um, Conan Omnis, Conan epics. But it's going to be like, I don't know, 20 volumes. Maybe if they keep doing them at 13 issues per epic collection, it's going to take going to take a long time. So my hope is that Conan at Titan works well for them in Omnis, and then they start doing the epic like trade paperbacks, and then they bulk them up to 20 issues at a time. Maybe they can skip ahead in a couple different eras or something as well. I don't know. Anyway, I've been on for an hour and 17 minutes. I think it's time for me to go. This has been a great live stream. I thank you, everybody, for being very active in the comments there. I've had fun. Just a reminder that Ghost Rider Danny Ketch, Volume 1, and a reprint of New Mutants Demon Bear Saga, this is Volume 2, are coming out on October 11th. And so you can, if you missed New Mutants the first time and the second time it was out, now you have another chance to get it. Don't miss out on it again. It's a great book. And then all of you Ghost Rider fans, and especially Danny Ketch fans, can get Ghost Rider Danny Ketch Volume 1. It's very different from Ghost Rider Johnny Blaze Volume 1. So there you go. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for staying up late and watching my live stream. And I hope you all have a great, what day is it today? A great rest of your week. See you later.